Okay, welcome guys, my name is Gavin Panu. Welcome to Alphachain. This is an induction webinar, so we'll start off with just covering some of the key points in regards to the structure of your program. But let's just transition straight into sort of, a face-to-face discussion. Okay, welcome team. My name is Gavin. Welcome to Alphachain. This is the day one induction webinar. So going forward, there's going to be a continuation in development on a weekly level. So on a weekly basis, we will be giving you a schedule that you must stay within. But let's discuss all the sort of key points you need to be aware of. What I would stress right now, guys, is that you should take advantage of this live session and interact. Okay, interaction is key, communication is key, especially that we're all working remotely. So interaction is key, and we want you to communicate well. So please do use the chat box and ask your questions as we progress. But thereafter, we have a number of communication portals that you can use to stay in touch with us. But what I want to do is go through a specific screen where I highlight some of the key points to the program itself and answer any questions you may have. Okay, guys, can you see what's on my screen at the moment? Just let me know. Can you see what's on my screen at the moment? Guys, interaction is key, so please do use the chat box. Okay, what I might need to do is, there we go. Okay, so Alex, yep, thank you. Julian, all good. Terence, thank you. Okay, great. So, yep, welcome to Alphachain Capital, and let's break down what you should be expecting for the upcoming program. Right, what should be your aim? Right, everyone should have an aim right at the beginning of their program. Where do you want to be? We know you're sort of going to go through a 4-week intensive training program. Then thereafter, you're going to go through a grueling sort of, development while on a live funds for the remainder of those 2 months for the 3-month program. And then thereafter, you have that benefit of continuing with us, adding on to sort of the membership and receiving further guidance as you progress. But what is your aim is the question, okay? Now, for some of you, it might be to carry out the CPD accredited training to improve your financial market knowledge and develop some trading skills while building that work experience, right? Even from a remote perspective, you can build that work experience, and I'll explain how later. For others, it may be the development of a robust, structured trading strategy that you're looking to define as your way of progressing. Yep. For another person is that you want to develop a career with us. Your focus is on developing a career with us. Okay. Now, it does vary. I would probably say that 80% of individuals that have enrolled with us and go through the junior trader program are here to develop a career. Okay, but that additional benefits, I mean, that's a positive, right? So not only are you able to develop a career and have potentially starting off with a secondary source of income that can turn into your primary source of income, but thereafter, I mean, you'll have your own sort of trading knowledge and skills developed where you can form your own strategies later on and have your own investors invest in your fund going forward. Or you may use this as a stepping stone and go into an institutional bank like some of our past candidates have. Now, it all does depend on what your aims are, but highlight your aims, right? So do define what is your aim. It's important you do that, because now I know from the outset what your focus is on, okay? So yeah, let's continue with what we're looking to do. Just give me a second. Okay. Now, what are the benefits? Now, with the training, the key point I'll probably stress right now is that it is guaranteed starting capital. Okay, every trader that we select, when we select candidates on a monthly basis, and that selection process it varies in regards to how many candidates we take on, in regards to the amount of talent that's out there, and the amount of sort of individuals that we've spoken to, and who we believe that we can provide, who would excel in this environment as a prop trader, whether it's a remote perspective or in-house perspective. But also, we've got limited amount of capital that we can allocate to each trader as well. So it's defined on those two merits, and then you are selected. Luckily, you guys have been selected. You are at the start of this new career. Okay, so you're all going to receive guaranteed capital. Okay, so whether you're forex or cryptos, it's different. The capital allocation is different. But I know that most of you are forex, so you'll be having you'll start off with a capital of $12,500. Okay. Another key benefit is that we know that some of you may have your own responsibilities or lifestyle, or maybe in a full-time job or whatever it might be, right? So the program is been catered to being flexible so that you can have a job and a lifestyle around doing this program. Okay, I would say in the first 4 weeks is where a lot of your time should be spent on the training program, because you've got a number of areas to work on, right? So you've got sort of the material, the training material, where you're going to develop your knowledge, you're going to fill in those gaps in your knowledge, right? Then you're going to be able to apply that, the application, which is the trading skill that you're looking to develop, right? And thereafter is building confidence in your analysis, in your process, developing a sort of, a strong, a good mindset in trading, whether it's from risk management, from trading psychology, whatever perspective it may be. Okay. Another key benefit is obviously this will increase employability with also having that practical CPD qualification. So we do provide you a certificate at the end of this program. And it's just the practical skill that you're going to develop. It's on-the-job experience. Okay. And a lot of people get this confused, as in, they don't put a lot of emphasis in this. They think that they can go out and do some sort of training program where it is only about market knowledge, and from that knowledge they can be able to be successful traders, and that's not the case. Gaining the knowledge is only the sort of first stepping stone to becoming a trader. There are multiple steps you still need to take thereafter, and we try to sort of give you that comprehensive steps all laid out for you, so the hard work's done already. So remember, this is you're looking to develop a practical skill also. Okay, so this will be a great time to give the floor to you. Give the floor to you, where you can define your name, your background, your trading experience, and why are you here. Now, I know that I've spoken to each one of you. I've already spoken to each one of you, and I already have an inkling of your background, trading experience, and so on. But remember, you're part of a team here also. Okay, so just want to sort of, you know about me. My name is Gavin Panu, head of trading at Alphachain Capital, and I manage junior traders and the funded traders. Okay, we also have mentors. Okay, one of the mentors is in the group right now. His name is Desmond. So it'll be good for you to introduce yourselves to him also. Okay, so he'll be touching base with you on an ongoing basis. But this is a time, guys, if you could spend literally 2 minutes. And just be very specific: name, background, trading experience, and why are you here? And I'll break down each one of those. And it's also a way for you to introduce yourself to the other candidates. Okay, so we do have a good group here. So please do introduce yourselves to each other. Now, I'll come back to this in a little while, but I still want to continue and cover this PowerPoint. Okay. Now, the training itself. Okay, so the training itself. Now, you will have access to our online talent LMS. It's sort of a learning management system platform. Okay, and this is where you'll carry out the bulk of your learning material. Now, that's through. It needs to be carried out in sequential order. You will have access. I've got my squawk going off. So you will have access to. Let me just turn this down. You will have access to specific modules at specific times throughout your trading. In fact, one of the modules is given to you after you completed the initial 4 weeks prerequisite training and when you're on a funded account. And that one's a more of a performance coaching module, is to help your mindset while you're trading live, which is one of the most difficult parts in live trading. So we'll give you the modules in due course, and it needs to be carried out in sequential order. But it's been carried out in a very sort of in the correct process, right? It's taking some of the sort of holistic views of the markets, giving you a concise version of this information, so you have a good foundation. Then developing those technical skills thereafter, and so on. So it's done in a methodical way. But you will be given access to these learning platforms. And the key point I'll stress, it's all organized for you. So whether it's through reading material, pre-recorded lectures, webinar sessions have been inserted to give you the practical ability. So it's all been placed in our online talent LMS. And you will have access to that very soon. So some of you have already got access to it, but I haven't dedicated the module as of yet. Now, in addition to this, you will have direct access to experienced traders. Okay, so you will have direct access to our experienced traders, which is crucial, right? You're here because of our trading team, right? You know, the mentoring team, the training team, the lecturers. You're here to meet these guys and sort of learn off these guys and sort of take the skills that you need from these individuals, right? So the whole point is that, you know, with these experienced traders, you have access to on our communication portal. Even if you're remote, you can reach out to some of the guys, right? They're going to be putting in their analysis, snapshots, or their trade views. You can ask questions. Okay, why do you have this view? And so, right? You can arrange calls directly from that communication portal, whether it's a video call or a general sort of call, okay? So the focus is that you'll have access to these experienced traders. These guys have been funded by us, by Alphachain, okay? And there'll be opportunities where you can sort of almost trade live with these traders, okay? So you can emulate a trader. Now, key focus for us is the ongoing one-on-one mentoring sessions we do, okay? Remember, it's a two-way thing, okay? We're the mentor, you are the mentee, so you need to give us guidance going forward also, okay? In some areas you may not need a lot of mentoring because you already have that ability. You need to define where's your weakness, what areas do you need more guidance in, okay? So it's a two-way thing where you need to define as a mentee what areas are you strong in, what areas are you weak in, what do we work on a week-to-week basis, how do we fill in the gaps in your knowledge. Okay, and as a mentor that you'll have access to, you will receive someone there when you need someone there to be there, right? The goal is that you have all the communication platforms you could ever need to be able to reach out to a mentor who can give you guidance at the time you need it. Okay, now, as we sort of switched more to a remote perspective in the sort of current market conditions we're in, a lot of our lectures are done through live webinar sessions. Okay, similar to what I'm doing here, there may be a live webinar session which is on an ongoing basis. So we tend to do lectures on our online trading floors, which is in our communication portal, and through live webinars just like this. We also encourage group discussions. We'll put in specific sort of areas we want you guys to work on as a group also. Yeah, and if you need any further guidance, reference manuals and resources, we can also provide that to you. And there is a traders folder. It's a PDF document that we provide, which is a very concise version of certain parts of the training program where you can always go back to if you need to sort of update your knowledge or remind yourself of a specific indicator on how it works, for example. Okay, and guys, feel free to ask questions at any point. Do ask questions. I've got the chat box open so I can answer questions on an ongoing basis. Now, here is the timeline. This is an updated version of our timeline, very specific. Okay, so 3 stages. It's broken down into 3 stages. You've got stage 1, 2, and 3. And stage 1 is your prerequisite training period. Okay, now the goal over here is to understand the theoretical knowledge and apply the methods required on a simulated account. Simple as that. So that covers everything you're going to be going through. Right? From week 1, we want you to quickly get up to placing 50 trades. It doesn't need to be with technicals or fundamentals or anything yet. Just place random trades with good risk management. Risk management is an area we focus in from the outset, from the start. Okay, so we'll define the risk management rules, and you need to take some trades according to those risk management rules. Then we start to define which assets you want to trade, what time frames do you want to dedicate, what's your trading styles. Okay, and then we start to apply the technicals thereafter. So, you know, week 1's focusing on sort of, you know, the modules. You know, your first module, placing lots of trades. Week 2 is learn to trade, another module. Week 3, you go through another sort of module. So as you progress through the first 3-4 weeks, you're getting through more and more difficult modules to complete. Yeah, module 3 being the most difficult, where you're learning advanced strategies. You're completing a pre and post worksheet. Those worksheets needs to be completed because your mentor needs to see your practical ability, and that's done through worksheets. Yeah. Week 4 is when we start to go into strategy backtesting, trade plan development, live funds, and so and so. Okay, so it's sort of all of this stuff over here. And then at the end of the training, our focus is, it just doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. That's where we start to sort of define what areas of improvement and gaps in knowledge can be defined. Okay, you know, what's your expectations for the trader sort of once you're on a funded account. Okay, and reviewing your past 4 weeks and so on. And then when you go into stage 2, now this is the most important stage, in my opinion. This is where I see a lot of bumps in the road for traders, okay? This is where you're going to really start to sort of, you know, go up against the wall a number of times. You're going to break through that wall, okay? And that's just part of trading, right? You know, a perfect sort of analogy to give, and I've given this analogy to some of you guys previously, right? So, you know, being in this lockdown situation, I'm spending a lot more time with my family and my kids, and my daughter's learning to ride a bike. And as she's learning to ride a bike, it's come to me that those training wheels have nothing to do with her learning to ride a bike. It's there to build her confidence on using the bike. As soon as you take those wheels off, she still needs to fall a number of times to start to find her feet and find her rhythm, right, to ride a bike. Okay, so the training wheels is your demo trading account, right? It's just building confidence, using the application and the tools required to a high degree, to a good standard. Thereafter, you should switch over to a live account. Your mistakes will be done on a live account. Only your head of trading or your mentor is going to define to you that no, you should go to a demo account purely because of this reason. Unless, you know, that's rarely the case. You can afford to make calculated risks and mistakes on a live account. So, you know, if you start live trading and you have 3, 4, 5, 6 losses in a row, that doesn't mean, oh no, okay, everything's gone out of the window, I'm going to change my strategy, or I'm going to go to a demo account, practice for another few months and then come back. It doesn't work like that, because that spiral will just continue. You've got to make the mistakes on a live account, and that's what we put a lot of emphasis on, especially in the stage 2 part, okay? So you're going to receive 8 weeks of trader development and mentoring sessions while on a live account, okay? So your focus shouldn't be initially in this stage, in my opinion, on, oh, I've got to hit my target. The target that Alphachain has set, I've got to hit that target, right? We've got to see that as a soft target. Your emphasis should be on is the goals that you've set yourself. I want to see that I have a 60% hit rate each week. Okay, I want to achieve 60% hit rate. If your initial hit rate is only 40%, okay, I've got to improve that. I want to achieve an average reward to risk of 2 to 1 on all my trades in this week. I want to be up by a certain percentage by the end of this week. Right? I only want to, you know, have this many losing positions or take this many trades per day. Those are the goals that you need to define to become that prop trader that you're looking to become in the future. Right? The targets, that shouldn't be the focus initially. All right, so remember, the focus here is throughout the week, your focus is going to be on your live trading account, right? Sort of defining your motions and testing your motions and, you know, trying to achieve that soft weekly target, you know, completing the documents we provide you and so on, okay? And there's going to be ongoing access to live webinars, video conference calls, and all this sort of, you know, additional material that you're going to receive while carrying out our 4th module, sort of the mindset module, okay? And here there's pre and post sheet. I want you to be methodical and take your time. There are 8 units within this module. I want you to do 1 unit per week. And with each unit, there is a pre and post sheet that you need to complete. You've got the entire week to complete, so don't rush that process, right? The goal is to you know, if you can improve yourself on a weekly basis by 1%, you're going to be a much better trader in 8 weeks, in 16 weeks, and so and so. Okay, that's the focus. If you're expecting yourself to improve by 20% in a week, that's rare. You know, the chance of you doing that is very, very slim. So focus on working on one small detail on a weekly basis, rather than I need to sort all of this out in a week. Okay? Yep, guys, feel free to keep asking questions as we progress. Now, what should you have on day one setup? Okay, so you'll have access to Talent LMS. This was where your learning material is going to be located. You'll have access to a demo trading account, and you'll have access to our Slack communication. Okay, so this is where we have a number of channels where you know, this is where the communication is done. I mean, we have up to 9 channels now. We have 9 channels and additional few channels thereafter. So there's a lot more comprehensive than what there was. But this is where all the communication is done. Okay. Now, the mode of training. The key here is that, as you know, in these current circumstances, you know, these lockdown measures, social distancing, times, we're not sure what the future, you know, holds for us, whether it's as a country or as a part of being a global citizen, or even part of Alphachain itself. Okay, so it's very difficult, sort of uncertain times. You know, hopefully, I'm not going to go into sort of the specifics, but what I would suggest is our entire focus is on remote. And we were quite early in preempting this is going to be taking place, and the fact that we made significant changes to our remote package, which is now in line with our in-house package. So there is no difference between in-house and remote, in my opinion. Okay, there's no difference. We made a huge amount of improvements on that. Okay, so whether you're doing it in-house or remote, you have now, all our remote traders have a huge benefit, because they're getting a lot more value, which was previously not done. Okay. Now, you don't need to focus on the in-house stuff, but what I would say is our remote package, we made a huge amount of benefits there, okay? So naturally you have a mental sort of outreach, not just an email outreach, through our sort of online communication portal, okay? So you can direct message me, Desmond, for example, who's in the chat right now, and, you know, any other sort of trader that you want to speak to, okay? You'll have support from other traders, you know, one of our sort of key one of our pivotal traders on our trading group, who's constantly on a daily basis is managing, almost doing the admin for our main online trading room, is Wakas. And he shares his knowledge, his experience of trading the markets, and he's been trading for a number of years. Okay, so you know, reach out to those other traders. As I mentioned, webinar and chat rooms. You'll have access to our chat rooms in our Slack group. You'll have access to these webinars, which we'll do on a regular basis. You'll have access to phone and video consultations with a mentor, and the ability to trade around your job and lifestyle. Okay, so the key point being there. Now, the learning process, it's all about the process. Process for us is key. Okay, so initially, some areas for you, most of you may be, you know, some of you might have come with prior experience, and I've hopefully said this to you as I've spoken to you on a one-on-one basis, that, you know, you're going to have some experience, and that's fine. But remember, come in to be moldable, right? Come in to sort of, you know, understand that some areas you're going to be strong in, some areas you're going to already have, you know, you're going to be pre-diagnosed with that information already, right? So you're going to have that knowledge. It doesn't mean you stop learning, okay? You need to sort of see it as a refresher. You need to see it as, okay, there might be certain parts to this that I'm not aware of that I can make better, right? You know, so some areas going to might come very easy to you. There's going to be other areas that can be very difficult for you, and it's important having open dialogue and communicating how you're feeling, or if you're stuck at any point, is key. Right. The last thing I would want is a trader or candidate, for example. I don't know. I'm not going to give examples, but a candidate reaches out to me towards the end of their program on the last day, and they're asking me week 1 questions, very basic introduction of markets questions, right? Because that's not great. That just shows that they're either not completing the training on time, or they're not being able to sort of communicate with me, right? And that's the mistake on both sides. Okay, so I've got to look at, okay, we've got to improve our communication levels, and then on their side, I would say, okay, why have you not reached out to me in the first week? If you've found this as a concern, right? So do remember, there's no such thing as silly questions. No such thing as silly questions. You have a question, ask the question. Okay, so the steps are, we cover the theoretical concepts, we go into then the practical application of it, then we start to get to sort of, the crux, which is now defining that strategy or strategies for different market conditions and outlining a trade plan. Yeah. Now, the work experience part to it is you have access to your trading platform. You have access to, our funded accounts, a trading platform. You don't even need a trading desk, right? You just, trade off your, laptop. But you have access to our online trading desk, which is our communication portal, okay? The trading experience that you receive on a trading floor is now migrated to our sort of remote package now, right? On a daily basis, 7:30 every morning, we do what we used to do on the trading floor is our sort of morning conference call, right? Sort of a conference call on the trading floor in the morning, right? Morning briefing. We now do that remotely. You have access to that webinar every morning, 7:30 every morning. That's hosted by Desmond, who's in the group right now, okay? And he does it sort of a concise way. Now, when he goes through that tomorrow morning, he will go into a little bit more detail because he needs to explain to you the process. But thereafter, it's a 15-20 minute discussion that takes place, covering quickly what's taking place overnight, what to expect for the day ahead. Yeah. And then throughout the day, there's going to be discussions through our online trading room. Okay, you have access to two of the main rooms. Okay, one is our main sort of trading floor. Okay, the trading room where all traders have access to, and they sort of communicate about market-related information or chart analysis or whatever it might be. And then we have candidate channel, and that's where you should focus on the training program and ask questions which is training program related. And if it's just a random question you may have, there is another channel called Questions for Mentors. Okay, you can just reach out, whatever the question may be, put it in there, and we'll answer those questions as we progress, right? And do remember, you can sort of ask questions directly as well. Yep. We will often do sort of trading drills and competitions. We like to do trading drills and competitions. So one of the competitions may be an intraday competition, intraday trading competition, right? So at the beginning of the day, you'll define your starting equity, we'll define the risk parameters, and you'll trade the entire day. The highest return on investment trader wins the competition, okay, wins that competition. And yeah, part of this work experience is that we want this ongoing relationship between the mentor and the mentee, right? That guidance you receive from traders who have more experience than you is crucial. And it works both ways, right? It works both ways. One of the sort of key areas that it's helped me is that it's helped me see the markets in a different way by just simplifying the process of conveying that message to another trader. It allows me to sort of find shortcuts in the process of trading as well, right? So it works both ways. Now remember, our focus has always been sort of the top-down approach, okay? Our focus is mostly top-down approach. We don't do the bottom-up approach, we do a top-down approach. Now, right at the top, and the sort of key areas that you're going to be working on from day one is the development of that trading process, okay? What is your trading process, right? Every trader should come to the markets or come to sort of the trading desk first thing in the morning with a plan, right? You can't come to a trading desk, open, a chart and say, yeah, there's a trade there, let's take it. It just doesn't work like that, right? You need to define that process. It might be a morning routine, a pre-trade checklist, right? Post-trade checklist, right? End of day routine, right? You'll be doing your reporting to us, to the mentors and to the seniors, okay? And that happens when you're on the funded account. You'll be filling in specific documentations, right? After each trade, you'll do a post-trade sort of, journal, right? You're doing a trade record, a blotter that we have, okay? There are, end-of-day reporting of your equity and so on. So remember, you've got to develop that trading process in sort of a schedule. So what I would say to you now is define your schedule. Define how much time are you going to dedicate to this on a daily basis. and let us know. Let us know. Say, Gavin, reach out to me on Slack and say, Gavin, I can only do these hours due to these other commitments, and how do I best go about it? Okay, what do I focus on? Right? Ask questions. Now, the next part to sort of the top-down approach is fundamental analysis, okay? So the fundamental analysis that we're going to focus on is for the very, very long term, okay? We're going to focus on, understanding the current macros and the geopolitical concerns at the moment and how it has an impact in markets in sort of the medium to long-term view. Okay, but a key point to mention and stress is that it's not the fundamental data that drives asset prices higher or lower. It's the market's perception of that fundamental data that drives asset prices higher or lower. So sentiment, market sentiment, is probably the most important part to trading the markets. Okay, and now that comes with both fundamentals and understanding market sentiment comes with your time and experience in financial markets. Now, the first thing I'll probably say to you to do from the outset is sign up to Bloomberg 5 trending themes per newsletter. 5 trending themes of the day newsletter. Every morning they'll send an email highlighting the 5 key, topics of the day. Just read through those. You can click on those articles and to go into more detail. That's the start. That's the quickest way to start building that fundamental knowledge, is by reading, spending, and be diligent in your time as well. Okay, so define of your sort of trading day, how much time are you going to allocate to reading fundamentals, reading news. And do remember to put emphasis on what is factual and what is an opinion. Okay, you want to take on the factual information and form your own opinions. There's no opinions are not bad out there, right? You want, that's market sentiment. Gauging everyone's opinions is key, right? But don't follow their opinions. The goal is for you to form your own opinions from the factual and opinions that are out there. And then thereafter, we apply technical analysis. Technical analysis is almost a leading indicator to being able to define perfect entry points, stop loss placements, target levels, defining reward to risk ratios, and so on. Okay, so technical analysis is our way of understanding the short-term sentiment, applying longer-term price analysis to define sort of longer-term movements, and are they in line with the fundamentals? So technical analysis is our way of forecasting future direction and understanding the short-term sentiment and understanding behavior in the current market conditions. And then risk management is key, guys. Risk management is key, okay? Following Alphachain's risk management guidelines, or the guidelines that you've set yourself. It's put a lot of emphasis on this. We're not looking for that one trade to take us to, make us a millionaire, right? It's not like that, okay? The chance of that is the chance of you winning the lottery, okay? The focus is on positive, return after a certain amount of trades, having good consistency throughout your trading, okay? And then you've got trade management. And a lot of people just focus too much on the setup. They focus on, okay, how do I take a trade? That's all their focus is on. But what about the rest of it? What about how do I execute the trade? Once I'm in the trade, how do I manage that position to maximize my opportunity? And then what's my reason to exit? Okay, so you've got to work on each part of that. And that's where we look at STEM: setup, trigger, execution, and management. Okay, those are sort of the 4 areas that we focus on. And then, as you can see from the sides, then we focus always following the trade plan and emphasizing the strategy that we're looking to execute in the markets. Okay, so remember, market conditions vary, right? There are some markets, at some points there is a risk-on factor. The market feels extremely bullish. Other times there's risk averse, risk off, right? Other times you have a trendy market, and sometimes you have a consolidation or converging market. So you can't apply one strategy to fit all market conditions. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to outline what strategies work in different market conditions. Now, there are traders out there that apply different strategies within those different market conditions. And there are other traders out there that define a specific strategy that they entirely focus on for only one market condition. Those other market conditions, they will sit on their hands. Remember, you're either looking to go long, there's 3 positions you could take in the markets. I'm going long, I'm going short, I'm sitting on my hands. I'm not taking a position. Not taking a position is also defined as a trading decision. okay, is also seen as you preserving your capital. Remember, your first goal, you know, these are sort of the 3-step goals for any trader, okay? The first I'll probably say is survival, right? There is a reason why 90% of traders out there fail in the first 90 days or blow up their account in the first 90 days, right? You know, and never touch trading again, right? And then they call it gambling, right? It's because of the lack of knowledge, the lack of discipline, the lack of, you know, risk management, the lack of trading psychology. You know, there's a number of sort of areas. But that's why it's important. Your first goal should be just survival, okay? You know, being due diligent, you know, carrying out the sort of process that we've defined, staying within your risk management policies, and outlasting, right? The key is, remember, a lot of the learning, right, the prerequisite material is called prerequisite for a reason. It's a prerequisite, right? Before you start to learn, before the actual learning begins, okay? So, yeah, your first goal is survival. Then your next goal is to be consistent. Okay, consistency is the key. You want to continuously to perform to a certain consistency, that goal that you've outlined. Then your third and final goal is capital growth, right? Using compounding to grow that capital, right? And the benefit here is that we compound for you. You hit a 6% target or a 10% target, we're able to quadruple or double your account size. Okay, you can't do that with a general standard personal account, and just you'd have to you know, the amount of X that you got to return before you can double your account and so on and quadruple your account is ridiculous, right? So that's what we're able to do. We can compound your account very quickly, and you can be a 6-figure earner in a year's time. Okay, but the focus should be in the beginning is survival, consistency, and then capital growth. Okay. So areas we're going to focus on, you know, I would say as a trader, from what I've, you know, the years of experience that I've, you know, developed, you know, the 2 most important areas of trading is probably psychology, the mindset, and risk management. That fear and greed, those emotions that you have, the fear and greed when you're trading. Okay. You know, not staying within the risk rules that you've defined, or over trading and taking far too much larger risk to sort of recover some of the losses that you've made on a single day or in a week's worth of trading, right? You know, those 2 areas, those 2 areas will really sort of have an impact on you, especially in the latter part, in the actual funded account, okay? And that's where the development, you know, is required. The ongoing mentoring and development is required. Technical analysis, sentiment, and fundamental analysis are also areas we're going to focus on, mostly in the prerequisite material. Now, what do you need to do? Okay, this is the question. Okay, your focus should be is not just to earn and focus on sort of the earning potential, is to aim to learn while you earn. Okay, so focus on the learning and then earning. Okay, it works hand in hand. Focus on building experience. Okay, the key is that we can allocate a small amount of capital to you, and your goal for us is that you need to build a good track record, a consistent track record. You build that track record, that's fine. When we take you on the next capital allocation, right? The more trust we build with each other in this, you know, 2-way trader sort of, you know, prop firm relationship, the more capital we can allocate to you. Okay, so the trust is the key now, and you being methodical, you being due diligent, you staying within your risk parameters and looking for consistency and building that track record is the most crucial part. Okay, so focus on building good trading experience. Focus on defining yourself as a verified, 6 months of trading, and if you've got a great sort of equity curve, taken 1,000, 2,000 worth of trades, you have that to add to your CV. You had this, this experience that you've built it's invaluable in my opinion. Okay. Ask questions. The more questions you ask, the better it is. I can't stress how important this is. Ask questions. Right, and do remember to carry out your own research. Part of what you're doing here is, remember, the hardest part of trading is the fact that you don't have no boss who says to you, you know what, you've done this wrong, this is what you should be doing. You have no one there, a teacher, saying to you, oh, this is what you should be doing instead of that. Okay, this is what the areas that you need to work on. Right? There's no one there to guide you and help you and to develop you. Okay, so remember that's going to continue. Right? There's only so much that we could provide for you. There'll be certain times where you need to carry out your own research. Right? Self-starters, self-growers, self-developers is crucial part of trading. Right? Remember, to give a perfect example of this, now I've got a decent amount of trading experience and a good verified track record, right? So does Adam. So does Ron William, our psychologist trader. Okay, and we've all of our experience put together. Have we ever experienced a COVID-19 situation as we've seen in the financial markets? The volatility rising, the volatility index hitting 80, and learning how to trade in these market conditions is completely new to all of us. Right? So market conditions change, and there's new themes and new areas that take place and impact the markets that no trader might be aware of. Right? The last time it was this significant in financial markets was, never, to be fair. Right? You can go back to sort of swine flu 1918, and it's a different scenario then. It's a different scenario compared to what it is now. So always remember, markets don't repeat. Market history doesn't repeat itself. It often rhymes. Okay, so there are going to be similarities, but it's never going to be the exact same as it happened previously. So your focus is always self-learning. Okay, and that's why part of that you need to carry out your own research and you need to put in the work required. Okay, hard work should be normal to you guys now. You need to put in that work ethic. Something to sort of really focus on is perseverance. I should put that right at the top. Perseverance is key. The amount of times that I've seen traders actually give up because is ridiculous. And if they just persevered, they could have done much better. They could have gone further, in my opinion. Okay, so remember, you are going to face hurdles, you are going to face brick walls, and it's how you persevere which is key for you to stay in this the long term and really become that prop trader that you can imagine yourself to be. And of course, practice. If we say apply support and resistance, don't apply it once, apply it 50 times. Okay, apply it a number of times till you feel that you've mastered that technical tool correctly. Don't just apply it and just sit there, right? Apply it, trade it also, right? See how the markets reflect off your levels that you've defined, right? There is certain tools are subjective. Okay, it's the way that you see and visualize the financial markets, right? So therefore, there's not always a right and wrong way to actually apply a support and resistance level, for example, right? So therefore, I would say, is the key is that you need to be able to trade it to see how well it works, give it a certain sort of percentage, and see what your hit rate is overall, right? And then also your mentor will be able to reflect that and give you further guidance going forward. Okay. Remember, sort of after that initial sort of prerequisite training, it's live trading assessment. Okay, the focus is on you learning and developing on live funds. So remember to apply your trading strategy, stay within those risk management rules, focus on being consistent, and complete all those relevant documents provided. Okay, and once you progress past a few capital allocations, you have the ability to start to tweak your strategy or define and form a new strategy. We may even give you the option of testing your strategy on different asset classes and giving you funds to that, right? That's not guaranteed. Remember that. But the key point is that we are open to looking at different asset classes, and we're always testing sort of other areas. Now, remember, sort of, the development on live capital. On live capital, we want to sort of really be hands-on. Okay, so you'll have direct access to traders through our sort of communication portal. We'll schedule regular sort of calls for performance, so performance calls. Okay, you'll have regular performance calls. These are sort of quick chats, sort of quick discussions, right? Remember, at the end of each day, all of our traders are reporting their equity, the highest value, closing value. That's reported to us. We have an internal document that we record. We're able to see percentage changes. Okay, if there's a large change, we're going to reach out to you. We're going to, sort of have a discussion, right? After every period, We're going to also sort of, fortnightly have a sort of performance call. Just a quick discussion on, okay, have you met these targets? Where are you from these targets? What's been the biggest sort of drawdown? Why is there being so and so? Okay. We're also going to give you feedback on your documents. You'll be doing a trade blotter, a trade journal. Those are sort of your two main documents that you'll be filling out. We also do a psychological sort of assessment. Our sort of performance coach has a documentation that you'll be completing on an ongoing basis. You'll have access to market reports on a daily basis, live webinars, daily video conference calls. I mean, the amount of content you're going to receive is phenomenal, right? But remember, it may be too much content for some of you, right? So remember, I would probably stress this, is that in the early days, there'll be sort of certain content that you have no grasp on and you'll have no knowledge on, and you won't understand what they mean, or even it might be even a specific terminology. It may just go over your head, okay? And that's fine. That's okay, okay? I mean, that just shows you there's a lot for you to learn. And secondly, over time, you will build that knowledge. So don't rush that process, right? Remember, there's going to be certain things you're not going to know, and it's okay. Trading platforms we often use. Our execution sort of account is MT4. So the funded accounts that we provide you is through MT4. This allows us to have sort of hard stops, automated process on the back end of our platforms. Our risk manager deals with this. So you'll have access to MT4 where you will execute your trades. Okay, most of our traders often use TradingView. TradingView is a great charting package. It's cloud-based. It's through a web browser. You can access it from any computer, from any location, as long as you've got an internet connection. You can even access it from your phone, to be fair. And it's a great tool. Saves your analysis on the cloud. Easy to use, very user-friendly. Has all the asset classes in there. And it's now part of our automated trading program that we're now bringing out very soon. Now, just to summarize before I go into sort of the Q&A session, the key points are that you're going to be learning theoretical concepts, but not only that, you're going to be applying it practically. Yep. So remember to focus on theoretical concepts and practical application. Don't rush the process, right? The amount of time that you spend on the theory, spend the correct amount of time on the practical ability of that theory before you move on to the next theoretical concept. Okay, don't rush that process. You're going to build live trading experience, whether it's on a trading floor or our online trading room. Okay, you're going to have access to other traders, mentors, lecturers who will give you constant information and content that you need to be aware of and give you guidance on your live trading account or your demo trading account. Okay, and the goal is that we give you strategies that have been already proven. We've given you proven strategies that you can straight away pick up and apply. But I would say that that's why we always apply a trade plan. Is that I could have, to be fair with you, if you can go into YouTube and on there are thousands of strategies. Now, you could take one of those strategies, apply in the markets, and you assume that, okay, it will work for you. Why does it not work? Why does it not work? And the reason behind it is that is not your strategy. You don't know how to apply it correctly to the person that actually put that strategy together. Okay? So what we do is when we show you how to apply the strategy, we go from A to Z. We apply the whole STEM process, right? The setup, trigger, execution, management of that strategy. We talk about the assets you should apply it on. What would be your hit rate on average? Or what you should be targeting on average? What would be your reward to risk? What timeframes should you allocate it on? Okay, we want you to back test that strategy, do a forward test before you trade it live. We want you to tweak it in your trade plan, strategy part of your trade plan, so that it is your strategy. Remember, a trading edge is not the strategy, it's you applying the strategy correctly. Okay, and that's what the focus is going to be, is applying those strategies to that level. Remember, we're going to do a back test to validate in different market conditions. We're going to be building a trade plan with guidance. And the most important part is that you're going to receive ongoing learning and ongoing support and development on a funded account, right? So that's the sort of, the crux of it. And yes, one of the key parts of Alphachain is the fact that you have access to our community. Okay, now this is not our Telegram group. Our Telegram group is an open community. Okay, and we've got over 500 members in that open community who discuss financial markets and so on. Right, and we have admin in there who manage the room and ensures that the content provided in there is quality content. But we also have a private room where it's for our funded traders. It is purely for our funded traders who discuss specific strategies that we have developed and discuss the merits around the strategies, applying it on a daily basis, seeing how it's being applied in these current market conditions, as we're seeing sort of the increase in volatility, going from risk on risk off very quickly, the geopolitical risk and concerns around COVID-19 and so on. Okay, so you'll have access to a group of professional and passionate traders out there, part of our community. And that brings us to the end. That brings us to sort of the end of this session. And what I want to do is send it over to you for questions. Okay, so please do remember you can ask questions, and let's do that now. And for the guys that I'm streaming this out to, I'm going to bring it to an end. The question is going to be for sort of our internal traders. But yep, thank you for joining and take care.